It's been an interesting journey. It's been 23 years, and I started off as a network engineer. I set up the network for the state of Madhya Pradesh for central government of India. So that was my first project, and then moved on to implementing a call center. It was a UK-based call center, and they were setting it up in India at that point of time, and I helped them set up that call center again, working on all the networks and everything. And then I got this call from Microsoft to build their portfolio management system, and I went into software right away, working on networking to software, and we implemented the portfolio management system for them. Um, and then I moved on to working on content management systems. So Interwoven was the leader in content management at that point of time. I joined Interwoven, and my function with Interwoven was to provide engineering advice to Interwoven customers. If Interwoven customers they're having an issue with the content management systems that Interwoven built, then I was providing them, that help to overcome those engineering issues with the content management system. Moved on to Intel. I was working on Intel compilers, vTune performance analyzers, Fortran and C++ compilers, and basically helping their customers being successful with the compilers. So a lot of people think Intel builds chips, but to enable those chips and making sure that those chips perform on the servers, like companies like SAP and all the big software likes, right? They build their software so that they can perform with certain chips. And so the Intel compilers, they play a key part in making sure that these chips perform for these softwares. And so I was helping the customers with that. And then I came to USA, and in United States, I've been here for 17 years now. And I started off working on content management systems, this time not providing engineering advice, but actually doing engineering on content management systems. Really building out content management systems for customers like AT&T, Portland General Electric, Salesforce. So my next, job was with Salesforce as a senior principal architect in their advisory services practice. Helped a lot of Salesforce customers. These include likes of Intel Corporation, Honeywell Corporation, help them with their sales transformations, their service transformations, their marketing transformations, their customer engagement transformations. So did a lot of work on those lines during my time at Salesforce. And then I got a call from Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, and they were trying to build their Salesforce practice. They had around 2,000 people that they had collected from various different departments. Some of them knew Salesforce, some of them did not know Salesforce, but they had this whole collection of 2,000 people, and they just wanted me to come in and help them build this practice, build the center of excellence for this practice so that they can be successful, with their Salesforce practice. So the next opportunity was working with TCS as the global head of architecture. Worked with them for 4 years in that role, and then moved on to being the chief technology officer for aerospace engineering at TCS. And while I was working there, I worked in that role for almost a year. I got a call from Cisco, and they're working on their digital products, which is enabling their employees, their partners, and their customers with digital products that can help these individuals use Cisco products better, and that can help the sales teams sell better, the service team service better. And that's the engagement that I got involved with, and I'm heading engineering for that department. So that's been my journey so far. Exciting opportunity at Cisco as well. I built a team from scratch of over 120 architects, engineers, product managers, project managers, pretty much all the roles that you can think of that come under engineering. And the team has excelled in what they do and how they do it. Role, a lot of the emphasis that we do, that we put is on customer outcomes, right? And how do you achieve a customer outcome? Or what is the first question we want to kind of answer, whenever we're going into, something net new, is what is the outcome that we want to achieve, right? So that's where we start. How is it going to look like for the customer? How it's going to benefit our customers? And when I say customers, in my case, it's Cisco customers, it's the Cisco employees, who are going to use the products, and it's the Cisco partners. And so we want to answer the question as to how that, what we are building or what we want to build is going to, give advantage to them, is going to make their lives better, right? And so that's where we start off with, and we work backward, from that outcome to how we achieve that outcome, right? And how that's going to add value to our customer. So that's where, I think that's what, I learned working in this role, at Cisco. But pretty much across my career, I've kind of focused on outcomes, as the end result, right? As opposed to, we don't want to drive engineering or product development from a perspective of product development or engineering. We wanted to drive it, with the outcomes in mind, and how do we achieve that outcome, leveraging our skills, our engineering, our product development methodologies. Are a part of life, I think, for anyone who is thinking they're not going to have challenges, that's kind of daydreaming, right? So challenges are always there, and I think the best way to approach those challenges is to expect them, that you are going to get those challenges, and you need to be prepared to overcome those challenges, right? With my kind of experience, I've faced, all kinds of challenges that one can face, right? Right from, resource challenges to project management challenges to customer expectation challenges to stakeholder management challenges, right? So it's been across the board. But one advice that I give to myself and I would give to anyone is to always expect these challenges and make sure that you're prepared to interface with them and overcome them. So there's always this is one of the challenges that I did not talk about in my previous answer, but yes, there's always a impending need to balance between, how do you innovate versus how do you meet, the ongoing expectations. So within my organization today, and even within, my previous roles, what I have typically depended on is an ambidextrous org structure, wherein we have certain amount of our budget. I typically go with a 90-10 or a 80-20 rule, wherein, 80% of your effort, again, depending on the role, it can be 50-50 role, right? But so far in my roles, it's been 80-20, 90-10, wherein 10% of your dedicated effort should go into innovations. It should go into, what's the next trend that you're going to follow. And then 80% to 90% of your effort should be, dedicated to meeting the ongoing needs, right? So if you divide it that way, you will never face a challenge wherein you're like, okay, now my ongoing needs are more, and that's why I don't innovate, because innovation is a necessity. It's not an afterthought. Today, if you want to build successful products, you want to make your customers successful, you have to innovate. So you have to have that dedicated capacity with you, which is, helping you innovate at a regular pace. And then you want to meet the day-to-day demands of the business. So you have that dedicated capacity with you, which are going to help you meet those day-to-day demands. the most important trend today, I think, all of us are aware of it, right? It's generative AI. And as we move forward, we're going to see more and more of generative AI being leveraged. And then, moving forward, I think, I mean, one of the key, implications from this leverage of Gen AI is going to be security. And how do we stop, people from, using Gen AI in a negative fashion? So that's going to be the implication. When we talk to younger generation who are pursuing engineering, I always say, understand the subject, right? A lot of the engineers, you know that we kind of interact with, um, you know a lot of times what happens is, people understand one side of the equation, right? But they don't understand this other side of the equation. So having, that knowledge of both the sides is very important. So understanding software engineering as a whole in a 360-degree view is very important. So that's what I would say. Don't take any of your subjects lightly, right? If you really want to become a successful engineer and have a great engineering career, you need to have your insights into each of your subjects. That's one. Create a 360-degree view. That's very important. Um, a lot of times, what people do is, they will learn all the subjects, but then they have each subject as a parallel to each other. They are not parallel to each other, right? So they are all intermingled. And when you are developing great software products, you are going to be leveraging all of this in conjunction with each other, right? So that's very important. And finally, I would say, collaborate, and collaborate, with your peers, as applicable, because a lot of the work that we do as software engineers and in engineering teams requires a lot of collaboration. So if you are not a great collaborator, you're always going to be on one side of the puzzle, and you're going to miss out the other side of the puzzle completely. The work, majorly I enjoy spending time with my kids. I have two kids. One is 11-year-old now, and the other one is 18 years old. So definitely want to spend some quality time with them. The table tennis is, or ping pong, or table tennis, whatever you want to call it. That's one of the hobbies of mine. And then motorbiking. I do motorbiking, over the weekends. So I don't do, long runs, but maybe a 30-minute run on a motorcycle gives me the energy needed for the next week. Travel destination, since the time I've been in United States, my favorite travel destination is New Delhi, because my father is there. So whenever I get a chance to travel, I try to travel to New Delhi. But if I have to go anywhere, within US, I go to Portland, Oregon. That's a really nice place. In India, I like Ooty. So Ooty is a great place to visit. So those are my favorite destinations. I think I have done pretty much the advice that I would give to my younger self. Maybe sometime in my career I already took it. But yeah, the core of my career, and the I would say the best practice that I have followed throughout my career is making decisions quickly, right? And not waiting for perfection. So that's very important. A lot of times what we do is we wait for perfection before we can make a decision. You should not wait for perfection. As soon as you're 70% sure of something that you want to accomplish, you want to achieve, you should go ahead and make a decision in that favor, right? If you're not 70% sure, then maybe drop it, right? But make quick decisions. Don't wait for perfection.